Hi, my name is Sheila Karuna. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love and Sassy Seer Sheila, as this will be seen on both channels. This is Gaslighting in the Age of False Light by Jason Gray. Gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of psychological and emotional manipulation. At its core, it is an attempt to make you question your own perception, memory, or sanity. It is not just about lying. It is about replacing your reality with theirs. In the spiritual space, especially in Facebook groups, where control is just a click away, gaslighting takes on a more sinister form. It hides behind the language of, quote, enlightenment, alignment, and higher truth. But the mechanics are the same as an abusive relationship. The only difference is that instead of one manipulator, you may be facing an entire echo chamber of them. The anatomy of spiritual gaslighting. Control the narrative. Gatekeepers in spiritual groups present themselves as, quote, guardians of the teaching. They posture as wise elders, masters, or initiated guides. But their true goal is not to preserve truth. It is to preserve their authority over the group. If you challenge their narrative, they will say you, quote, don't understand the deeper meaning, or that you are, quote, not ready for the higher levels. This is not instruction. It is a power move designed to make you doubt your own discernment. Weaponize the language of growth. Real spiritual growth invites questioning, dialogue, and exploration. Quite frankly, for me, I've always said if somebody tells you they know the way, you better run. Because quite frankly, no one has all the answers. And you'll hear me say that over and over and over. You are the only expert for you, not somebody else. That's how we got into some of this in the first place, is we trusted and think that others know more than us or have educated themselves in ways that we haven't. And in truth, that's just not true. It's just not even so at all. At least not from my point of view. And your mileage is absolutely going to vary. It's meant to. Back to Jason's writing here. Gaslighters twist this. They use your hunger for growth as a tool to keep you submissive. If you disagree with them, they will say you are, quote, operating from ego. Well, that's true. I've had that more times than I could count. If you point out inconsistencies, they will call it negative energy. If you bring receipts or evidence, they will dismiss it as low vibrations. They do not answer questions. They redefine the questioner as the problem. Been kicked out of more groups than I can count for that very reason. Create a culture of fear. Gaslighting thrives in a climate where people are afraid to speak up. In Facebook groups, this is enforced through public shaming posts, targeting disruptive energy. Private messages that isolate you reframe your challenge as an attack. Group pile-ons where members are subtly encouraged to, quote, correct the dissenter. This turns the group into a self-policing cult where the leader barely has to lift a finger, the fear of exile keeps most members silent. Rewrite history in real time. One of the most dangerous features of gaslighting is the ability to rewrite events as they unfold. In a Facebook group, this is easy. Delete posts that expose the truth. Ban members who speak against the administration. Claim the dissenters, quote, attacked or disrespected the group. Post a new version of events with the comments turned off. Suddenly, the only, quote, history that remains is the one that benefits the gatekeeper. Why it works on spiritual seekers. Gaslighting in spiritual spaces works because seekers are often open-hearted. They give trust easily, believing others share their sincerity. Self-reflective, they are willing to consider that they could be wrong, which manipulators exploit. Hungry for guidance, they value wisdom. So when someone claims to have it, they instinctively listen. And if you don't learn anything else from Sheila, let me just say this. If anyone does not point you back into you, run. Just run. Because, again, you are the only expert for you. And when you come around here, what you'll get is a group discussion, conscious conversation. And everybody's individual mileage absolutely will vary. It's meant to, in my view. I don't know any more than the next guy. All I know is what I've exposed myself to. And that's the same for everybody. And it doesn't mean that it's right. Because who decided that? How does that even work? So back to Jason's writing. These qualities, virtues, in a real teacher's hands become vulnerabilities in the hands of a fraud. The gatekeeper's real fear. A genuine teacher is not afraid of losing a student. A fraud is terrified of it. When someone in the group begins to see through the narrative, the gatekeeper's greatest fear is not that this person will leave. It is that they will take others with them. This is why dissent is crushed so quickly. Not because it is dangerous to the group's energy, but because it is dangerous to the leader's control. The predator behind the persona. When group admin poses as a spiritual teacher, but is actually a predator, gaslighting is their primary tool. It allows them to maintain a halo effect for new members, keep the spotlight off their own hypocrisy or misconduct, turn legitimate critique into, quote, proof of the critic's lack of spiritual maturity. The group becomes both their stage and their hunting ground. The complete guide to spotting spiritual gaslighters. Profile of a spiritual gaslighter. They may present as guardians of the teaching, claiming to protect ancient knowledge from the uninitiated. Humble servants of the light, overplaying their humility while quietly collecting followers. Chosen initiates, hinting at secret knowledge only they can decode. Their real priorities are maintaining control over the group or narrative, shaping reality so that they are always right. keeping members in a dependency loop. Red flags to watch for: behavioral, dismissive of questions, overuse of spiritual buzzwords to deflect, transparent only when it benefits them, public praise, private pressure, deleting posts, blocking comments, or rewriting history. Group culture, echo chamber dynamics, shaming rituals for dissenters, all advanced knowledge filtered through the leader, an inner circle whose loyalty is never questioned, overcomplicated, quote, vetting processes that serve ego, not truth, personal interaction. You feel more confused after speaking with them. You doubt your memory of conversations. They imply you owe them loyalty. They act as the only source of truth. When challenged, they shift blame to you. Their playbook in action. The hook: post something pseudo deep to draw seekers in. The test: float questionable ideas to see who reacts. The flip: redefine dissent as negativity or immaturity. The purge: remove the challenger, publicly or quietly. The rewrite: replace the story with a lesson on, quote, negative energy aimed at the exile. Defense strategies: keep a private record. Screenshot key posts and messages. Keep a personal timeline of events. Ask, do not assume. Watch how they handle clarifying questions. Test their principles. Present a truth that contradicts their narrative and observe their reaction. Avoid public confrontations in their space. Their group is their arena. They avoid they control the optics. Build an exit network. Connect privately with other aware members. Leave on your terms. Walk away before they can frame your exit as their decision. Freedom indicators. You know you have escaped when your clarity returns and grows. You no longer feel anxious about pleasing a leader. You trust your perceptions again. You see how much of their truth, quote, truth, was designed to keep you dependent. Gaslighting is not just a personal tactic. It is a structural weapon in many online spiritual spaces. In Facebook groups, it thrives because the gatekeeper controls the platform, the rules, and the history. A real teacher welcomes your questions. A real community does not exile you for seeking. A real light never demands that you doubt your own eyes to see it. The moment you value your own discernment over the voice of any self-appointed, quote, guardian, you step out of their false light and into the real, where no one edits your reality but you. After reading the above, take a good hard look now at the group the majority of you know me from. Take a good, hard, close look at the admin posts. No thanks needed, just flame-born truth. Jason Gray. Well, in truth, and this is for Jason and anybody else. Uh, Everybody gets to choose how they move through things, in my view. And look, I was in that group for a long time. And I always thought it was kind of interesting that I tried to get in touch with the admin because I wanted to invite them to a conscious conversation. And you see, I have this little thing that happens with me. Folks who don't want to see themselves don't come in contact with me. They stay away. That's just a thing, and it has to do with my own field of transparency. I want to see every portion of me. I am not afraid to ask questions because I know I don't know everything. That's the one thing I do damn sure know. I don't know everything. And I don't just believe things willy-nilly. And I'm not quiet about it. I never have been, actually. Those of you that have been listening, even with Jason's things, if I don't agree, I tell you I don't agree. Because in truth, it's supposed to. That, the whole thing about following along in things a certain way, that's how we got to the mess we've been in the first place, is just willy-nilly believing people because we think they're higher educated than we are. And that's across the board. That is exactly how I ended up being ill for 10 years, running from myself and trusting the medical industrial complex. Because I thought, since they were highly educated doctors, that they knew what was going on with me, when in fact, they did not. And so, but see, I had to go through that in order for me to get that message that each one of us are responsible only to ourselves. And you are the only expert on you or anything else, because everything that you come in contact is for you. And only you will develop your own discernment by realizing that. In my view, that's how I see everything. Well, I do see why I was nudged to record this today on many levels. So I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy, that which draws your attention. Because in truth, there's something there for you. Not necessarily joy in all cases, but there's something there for you. Don't be afraid to see what is there for you. If you are interested in having a conscious conversation, reach out to me, consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. We'll make it happen. Until we meet again, my friends, be well.